Hey guys, so I tell like it is, the rigged and scripted NHL through the Kabbalah code of gematria and numerology. Right now, it is the Boston Bruins that are ahead of the Toronto Maple Leafs 3-1. As I've said before, the rigged and scripted drought for Canada in the Stanley Cup is going to end 24 full seasons after the last Stanley Cup title for a Canadian team in 1993. Through the Kabbalah code of gematria and numerology, it is going to be the Toronto Maple Leafs that are going to come back from 3-1. The Toronto Maple Leafs can become the 29th team to come back from 3-1. Right now, there have been 28 teams in the NHL that have come back from 3-1. The Toronto Maple Leafs are going to be the 29th team to come back from 3-1. In gematria, the practice coin letters and words into numbers. It is Bruins in gematria that equals 29. They would go down to the 29th team to come back from a 3-1 series deficit. You're rigged NHL by the numbers. Now on to the standings. Notice that the Boston Bruins have 53 wins right now. And notice that if the Toronto Maple Leafs can win the series, they would win their 53rd game of the season against the Boston Bruins to keep the Boston Bruins at 53 wins after being down 3-1. It is a rigged and scripted comeback. It is comeback in gematria that equals 53. Very fitting way to have Toronto be the 29th team to come back from a 3-1 deficit. Completely scripted. Both of those teams' win totals are going to be at 53. Once it's all said and done, for this series, it is such a complete joke. Now on to Game 7. On to Game 7 for the series against the Boston Bruins and the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's funny here that Game 5 is going to be on the 25th day of April. That's going to be a very fitting day for Toronto to win Game 7. First of all, April the 25th adds up to 29. Toronto can be the 29th team to come back from 3-1 against the Boston Bruins. It is Bruins in gematria that equals 29. 53 total wins for both of these teams. This is how rigged and scripted these NHL games are through the Kabbalah code. We've seen it countless times just how truly scripted the world of professional sports is. The date numerology of Game 7 is 67. The Toronto Maple Leafs last won the Stanley Cup in the year 1967. The date numerology of 67 has everything to do with the Toronto Maple Leafs' last Stanley Cup title. Notice here that the Maple Leafs last won the Stanley Cup in 1967. This is no coincidence. This is scripting by the numbers. Game 7's date numerology of 67 is very fitting. 8 plus 1 plus 2, 11, 13, 18, 22. 22 prior Prime Ministers to Justin Trudeau, the 23rd Prime Minister of Canada. Under the 23rd Prime Minister of Canada, we're going to see the end of a drought for Canadian teams in the Stanley Cup. It is end in gematria that equals 23. Do you guys see how rigged and scripted these games are? Can you just see how truly rigged they are? The Maple Leafs were founded on November the 22nd. The amount of time from the day that the Maple Leafs were founded to April the 25, long and behold, is a time span of 5 months and 3 days. Comeback equaling 53. It can't be any more clear by the numbers. 22 weeks, 22 prior Prime Ministers to Justin Trudeau in Canada. You see what I mean here by the rigging of the numbers through gematria and numerology? Can't make this stuff up. 121 days from Justin Trudeau's birthday to Game 7. 121 days. Perfect, right? Perfect date sequence to win the Stanley Cup. Revelation in gematria equals 121 and 49. It was the Boston Bruins that had, it was the Maple Leafs that had 49 victories during the regular season. comeback in gematria equaling 26 losses for the regular season for Toronto. The Maple Leafs are going to remain at 29 losses once this series is all said and done. When they become the 29th team to execute a 3-1 comeback. It can't get any more scripted by the numbers. We've seen it countless times in the world of professional sports. So the Maple Leafs, 53 wins, 29 losses, a difference of 24 full seasons without winning the Stanley Cup for Canada once again. Going back to the gematria of Canada equaling 24. The Maple Leafs come back over the Bruins. It can be their 64th playoff victory ever since Canada last won the Stanley Cup in 1993. Once again, it is Golden Knights in gematria that equals 64, who I'm predicting the Maple Leafs to face off in the Stanley Cup. This series between the Maple Leafs and the Bruins has all of the perfect ingredients to have a series comeback. The Boston Bruins, losing their 24th game of the season. 24-year title drought for Canada. The rigid scripted NHL by the numbers. 53 here, 53 here. 106 wins combined for both teams. You cannot make this stuff up. Let's see. Prophecy and gematria equaling 106. Very telling by the numbers how that's the case. Last time an NHL team won the Stanley Cup, Toronto Blue Jays won the World Series against the Philadelphia Phillies. Mike Babcock, the manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs, he was born on the 29th day as well. April the 29th. April the 29th is his birthday. And it is Babcock that won the Stanley Cup with the Detroit Red Wings back in 2008 when the Philadelphia Phillies won the World Series. Pretty telling. The last time Canada won the Stanley Cup, it was the Philadelphia Phillies that lost the World Series back then. We're seeing a lot of Philadelphia connections in the rigid scripted world of professional sports by the numbers. The 3-1 comeback for the Toronto Maple Leafs against the Boston Bruins is bound to happen.